Welcome to Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports, where husky middle-aged men share insight on the latest Baltimore sports news. From the bank to the yard and beyond, we're breaking down the Ravens, Orioles, Terps, and more. Baltimore's best sports podcast starts right now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports. Jason and Mike here for a quick special update for you all. We told you guys last show that as the Orioles made any trades or free agent signings, we would try to hop on as soon as possible. So late last evening, Mike, the Orioles traded away oft-injured pitcher Grayson Rodriguez, and I should say former first-round draft pick, number 11 overall, Grayson Rodriguez, to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, I think that's still their name, for Taylor Ward. And yeah, just your initial feedback, Mike. First thing that comes to mind, go.
I didn't think we were going to deal Grayson Rodriguez. That's what comes to mind. Nice. I think, now I'm no pun intended, obviously, but I'm warding off all the comments I'm seeing on social media about how we got fleeced in this deal. I don't think it's a fleecing, but it does fill a need for this Orioles team. They need a right-hitting power bat. Tyler O'Neill can't stay healthy. Grayson Rodriguez can't stay healthy. And now you got a guy who the last 2 seasons has played over 150 games in left field for the Angels, and somebody who can be a bat in the middle of this order. He's batted third for the Angels the last couple of years. So I think the Orioles got something that they needed. I was hoping kind of they would go the free agency route to do that rather than to take from their already not awesome pitching staff per se. But I think it does fill a need for the current Orioles team. That's my gut reaction. I do worry about the years of control and losing 4 years of Grayson Rodriguez compared to 1 year of Taylor Ward. But we'll see what that looks like once the whole offseason has kind of settled.
Yeah, and you know what, though? I mean, we've been going back and forth already through text for the last, I'd say 10, 12, 13 hours, whatever, since we found this out. And one of the things that is frustrating as an Oriole fan and frustrating just as a baseball fan in general is hometown fans, and maybe not even sometimes the purest of fans, tend to really gravitate and hold on to their homegrown players. So we always seem to over analyze and over evaluate our current talent. And Grayson Rodriguez had a really good 2023. When the second half of 23, it was like a sub 250 ERA, but that's it. And 24 was rocky and then ended with an injury, and he hasn't pitched for a year and a half. By the time Major League Baseball starts up again, it's closer to a year. And look, these guys are, I always say this, these baseball guys and whatnot, these football guys, they're all smarter than we are. It's why they're in the industry. So if they're willing to give up a huge need, which is pitching, to go get a 1-year rental, I mean, that kind of speaks volumes to me. I mean, the Angels are not your model organization on how to do things right. They when Mike Scioscia was there, they kind of things got covered up a little better, and like he covered a lot of the holes and whatnot. And they then would spend tons and tons of money on Pujols and Trout, and even before that, Vladimir Guerrero. So that would cover up a lot of their warts. As far as building an organization, the Angels haven't been relevant for 10 years, 12 years, right? So what I'm getting at is if they're willing to do this, if the Orioles are doing this, I mean, that speaks volumes. Mike, for me, I don't know once they've looked at the medicals. I mean, Grayson said last year, I'm definitely pitching this year. Well, he didn't do that. He didn't pitch in 25. So for me, it goes more to the injury. You have to take chances in this game. I actually, when we've been talking about adding to the rotation, I just assumed that Grayson wouldn't be in it this year. I actually just didn't even. So I thought they needed two pitchers, which I still think they're going to do. I think they will add to this rotation. So by making room here, Mike, to me, it makes me think that, forget about who wins this trade. We won't know for a couple years who wins this trade. And if the Orioles make the playoffs this year with Taylor Ward, that's a win because the Angels aren't making the playoffs next year.
No, I don't see the Angels making the playoffs for the foreseeable future. I think a healthy Grayson Rodriguez with like a Yusei Kikuchi, that definitely helps the Angels starting rotation. But they just don't have a winning organization or a winning culture right now in Anaheim. Of course, I don't really care about Anaheim. I'm really cared about what this does for the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Orioles. We'll talk about the Ravens later. But my biggest concern again, if you were doing this deal without any injury, component to it, you'd say obviously the Orioles lost the deal probably, but you can't just say there's no injury component because, like you said, a year and a half of missing baseball is a huge amount of time. That's not many. That's not many. What he's had less than 40 starts maybe for the Orioles altogether. He hasn't had that many starts. So sample size tells us that we don't know what Grayson Rodriguez is going to be. And like you said, Jason, there's a gamble with every trade that you're taking. He could be Kevin Gausman when he leaves and continue to be great, or maybe take off and be great. Or he can be Dylan Bundy, who never really panned out into what he was supposed to be here in Baltimore. It's just unfortunate that every time Baltimore seems to have a pitching prospect, they never pan out here in Baltimore. The history since Mike Mussina of that has been, pretty, detailed. So it's just frustrating as an Orioles fan, I guess, to see Grayson leave without making a real impact on this team due to the nature of the business. But again, where do you guys see Taylor Ward slotting into the lineup, and how does he impact what the Orioles are going to do moving forward, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me initially, I mean, this is all hearsay because I don't think they're done. Because I do think that this is going to mean that they're going to still make moves pitching wise, and if it's through trade, they may have to give up one of these guys they have slotted in there to start right now, whether it's Mayo, whether it's someone else. So something I do want to say, just because Kobe Mayo from this day until the season starts, name is going to come up in a lot of trade conversations. Buck Showalter said once, and actually said it many times, that look at September of the year before to see what a player does, to kind of see how they're going to do, especially when they're younger. If you look at Kobe Mayo's numbers from August to September last year, that might speak volumes on what they think he's going to do going forward. So just wanted to throw that out there just to get everybody's brains going forward through this offseason. Bringing this back to what I said, to what you're saying, Mike, I told you last night that this, it comes out as like a number 4 hitter to me, mainly because I do think his average will increase in this lineup. I do think I don't know about his home run numbers, his RBIs and whatnot, how that's going to play in at this ballpark in comparison. But he is going to get better because this lineup is better. The guys around him are going to get better because he is better than what they had before. They haven't had a power hitter in this lineup besides Gunnar to protect Gunnar since Santander left. So to me, it's going to just alleviate. It's going to elevate everyone. So I'd say 4. I could see a 2 maybe, but I think it doesn't make sense to me. I could see 4 or 5, depending if they add anybody. I mean, outfield was a huge need, and they covered that. Just a heads up, everybody. John did jump on here with us in case you can't see. John, what is your feedback on the trade so far?
Well, I think that, I saw the numbers. I think Grayson, what was it called? Where Grayson was like a 25 and he was like a 5 in the trade, however they grade trades or something. But I just don't have any confidence that Grayson can stay healthy. I think that the Orioles, figured Grayson, if he's healthy, is maybe a number 3 starter um, you know, behind them. And, Mike, you've mentioned in the past, you could see Grayson, go into the bullpen being that closer, until we can actually see if he's going to stay healthy and what he can do from there. So I think the Orioles filled a very big need to get that kind of middle of the bat lineup to protect Gunner, to protect, the top of the lineup. So I think that it's what we need. And you know what? I mean, let's see if O'Neal can stay healthy. Like if O'Neal can stay healthy, then that gives us even more leeway of where to move people into that lineup. So I think that's going to be another thing that I don't know if we've talked about it, but if O'Neal can get healthy and stay healthy, then this is just another chip that will, I think, help our outfield and then also help protect our bats in the middle of that lineup.
So I actually think that say they go knocking on the Twins door and they try to get one of those two guys, one of the two starters there, Joe Ryan or who's it? Who's the other one, Mike? Pablo Escobar? Is it Pablo Escobar? Is that
Lopez.
who we're trying to get? Pablo Escobar and Pablo Lopez. They both come in a package. So you get them both. But anyway, I think the Orioles will be shopping Tyler O'Neill in packages and they will be eating the majority of his contract. They have him for 2 years. I don't think they want him for 2 years. But I've been saying this all offseason. I would rather have an embarrassment of riches than just to assume that you're not going to need this guy because you brought in this guy. So for me, Mike, I mean, what do you think? I mean, are you thinking slot him in the 4 spot? Are you thinking what are your thoughts initially?
Well, I wonder, they have some depth now, right, in the outfield. You have Colton Cowser, you have O'Neal, who can't stay healthy. You have Taylor Ward, you have Dylan Beavers still there. You have Heston Kerstep, a possibility still potentially. And then who and the new guy Leotis Taveras that they brought in already in this offseason. So you have more than you need per se. Like you said, Jason, injuries occur. Someone doesn't play well. It's good to have depth in your outfield. I don't think they necessarily need to trade from that depth. But I'm curious, do you guys think it prohibits them from making another big bat kind of move, like a all-star kind of move? I know that the free agency, Kyle Tucker is probably a pipe dream, and I think that Schwarber is probably the same. Alonso was still an exciting idea to me, but do you think they just stick with Kobe Mayo and I think Mountcastle's got to be going. I just think there's more maneuvering to be done. What are your thoughts on how this might create a domino effect moving forward in the offseason? John, how about you start?
Well, I still think that there's a good shot that we could bring in, a another outfield bat, and if we could bring in like a Bellinger, which I just don't know if they're going to spend that kind of money, But I could see us, making a couple trades, more trades, and people in Baltimore are looking for, that big name, that next big thing to come in there, as most fan bases are. You're looking for a big trade to bring in a Screwball or something like that, but the thing we also have to look at is okay, what complements and what makes the rest of the lineup around it better? What's going to make us, using the pieces that are already here, what are we going to do? So I could see us getting another big outfield bat. I don't think Mountcastle's back. So, whether they hang on to Mayo or whether we try to go find another first baseman or we're moving Basayo to first base or Rushman to first base or, what's going on, I think I don't think that we're completely done. I think that, we're going to bring in complementary pieces. And unfortunately, we want those big name guys, but I don't know if the Orioles are in the position or if they're going to do it. Because remember, who's the smartest guy in the room? And what has the smartest guy in the room showed us his entire tenure here, his tenure with the Astros? He showed us that he doesn't make the moves. So I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. Very, very high. What do you mean he doesn't make the moves with the Astros? You remember Justin
No, with the
Verlander
Orioles.
trade?
With the Orioles, he hasn't made the moves.
Right, but you
With the
said
Astros,
Astros, dude.
right, but he
You
brought in
said it.
Beltron, old guys.
Okay, so you have to understand now. This is his second full year with a bigger wallet and not an insane family trying to. Oh God, that family.
Well, I didn't think about that,
That's a
Jason.
whole
You're right
different
about that.
conversation. Guys,
I'm going
this
to
is a
say I
new
was
thing.
wrong. Hey,
Why do
guys,
you
mark this
think?
date down. Mark this date down.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I
I
have
was
it ingrained
wrong.
in my brain, John. Listen, um, I have been pounding on the desk for the last 8, 9 months saying that this is a different year. It has to be a different year. If this is going to be the direction the Orioles go with Mike Elias at the helm, they have to prove that they're willing to
John, can you hear me? John, can you hear me?
John, can you hear us? All right. Well, kind of just going back to what I was saying before, and just to kind of reiterate to Mike, um, these moves to me are not the end of the moves that I think they'll be making. I do think that if they decide to go the trade route with Minnesota or someone else, they may have to go out and get other hitters for the ones that maybe they dealt out. I do think that they're still in a really good position to still go after like a Pete Alonso or Cody Bellinger or somebody if they want to. I do still see them now that they traded off Grayson, probably having to go get at least two pitchers. So long-winded response for you, Mike, and I think our microphones got screwed up there for a bit. But I do think that one way or another they will be bringing in a bat, whether it probably from free agency, especially if they're going the trade route for more pitching. If that answers your questions.
Yeah, I can you hear me now, Jason? I'm just
I
checking.
can.
Yeah, I lost you for I couldn't hear anything you were saying. I
Oh
apologize. So
man.
if I repeat anything you said, apologize. But I heard you talking about pitchers, and that's kind of where I was going with it. It's like you leave a void in this pitching staff when you deal from Grayson Rodriguez, and then how do they fill that void? To me, if the Orioles go ahead and intentionally fill a couple of those voids in the pitching staff, the bullpen and the starting rotation, and they actually spend money, then I see this as a really valuable trade because it probably allows you to either number one, trade some of those positional players to get a starter of value, or number two, it allows you to just free up that money that you would have used to sign an outfielder to then go sign a pitcher. Maybe that gives you that extra couple $1 million that you can use to go sign, Framber Valdez or Dylan Cease or Michael King or whoever that guy that they have targeted is. So to me, that if that is how it happens, then I could see a little bit more of the why behind it.
And the one thing, Mike, that I didn't sound like you heard me say, I think that what the Orioles did by doing this was they got ahead of everyone else. And it's important that the Orioles compete by trying to compete with the Dodgers and the Yankees and get the free agents that you want. But because of what you sent us the other day about the market shrinking with some of these qualifying offers, maybe the Orioles were like, look, we still are interested in some of these free agents. Grayson, we're not sold on, but let's go guarantee ourselves someone that we can't get outbid on. We just have to make the trade work. So I'm thinking maybe they did that. I'm not convinced they're done. I'm not saying they're getting Pete Alonso, but maybe now they do. I'm not convinced that they're sold on Dylan Beavers being ready to be the everyday right fielder. Maybe he goes back in AAA to start the year for a little bit, or maybe he's the fourth outfielder. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, I still think they need more weapons out there. So, if that answers your question, and going back to the pitching, I do think they will be getting at least 2 pitchers in the starting rotation. Maybe one, I don't know, let's just throw out one like. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, you were
Okay.
on and out for again a second.
Oh man. So like a Dustin May, maybe, or someone along that way, and then a Michael King, Dylan Cease, or a Framber Valdez. To me, that's what I see them doing. So
Yeah, I think for me, I would say it gives them the flexibility to spend where they want to spend, and that could be, do they want to trade some of these young guys and get a starting pitcher that way, like like you had said, Jason, the guys from Minnesota, maybe one of the guys from the Marlins. You could look at somebody on the trade market potentially, and then they don't really have to spend that much at all for the bat and the arm, and then maybe they can go out and get a reliever that costs a little bit of money and feel like they're spending. I think the big thing with Elias is you see that he's very conscious about a budget or whatever that is that he has, or very conscious about being a good steward of the money of the owners. He doesn't want to go waste the owner's money. And so whereas other people just spend and spend and spend, and they don't have that governor or something that would keep them from going and spending above and beyond, Mike Elias clearly has some type of governor there, whether it's the owner telling him he can't or whether he just feels like he shouldn't, that keeps him from going too crazy. And I think these moves are setting him up to kind of have more flexibility moving forward in the offseason.
And let's think of it on a professional level. If you're working in a business, if you're the general manager or CEO of a company, and you make a decision and a move that doesn't work out, that looks poorly on you, and your next endeavor might not be as good as your first, or you might not find another job out there. I mean, Dan Duquette, I don't think is a general manager anywhere anytime soon. And I'm not saying Dan Duquette didn't do a good job. I have my own feelings on all that. But again, it comes back to that family of midgets that just, oh my goodness. But it's so for me, it's different this time around, and I'm going to keep harping on it until it's not. And I do think that they're trying to be more aggressive. This, to me, is exactly why they're trying to be more aggressive. And maybe they make another trade. Maybe they make a signing. John, is there anything else you wanted to add to all this since you've been kind of quiet down there?
Not really. Not really.
Pretty
I just,
outfit.
yeah, I accidentally wore black pants with a yellow shirt. So, you know, Steelers colors today. But
You making honey over there?
yeah, yeah. Actually, you know what, Mike? You guys know this? Honey is actually better for you than any allergy medicine. Did you
Yes.
guys know that?
Correct.
That's the thing they do down here.
Yep, you're
But
supposed to. Oh, yeah, I mean, they say don't use cough medicine or anything on kids. Give them honey; it works a lot better.
and a hot toddy. Hot
And
toddies are
yeah.
good too.
All right. Well, underage drinking. Good job, John.
Not for kids,
Great
for us,
job.
for us.
All right,
But
boys, I got to roll.
All right,
All
fellas,
right.
listen. So, Mike, thank you very much for joining us today. John, thanks for jumping in. Again,
Yep.
we will try to update all of you as time goes on. But otherwise, Taylor Ward, Baltimore Oriole, we wish him best of luck, and we can't wait to watch him this year. For Mike Frisky and John Lanscraner, I'm Jason Weisbecker, and we will see you next time.
Don't forget to subscribe to Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on Red Circle, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you get your free podcasts. And while you're at it, leave us a review. It really helps us out. We're trying to spread the good word about Baltimore sports far and wide. Follow us on social media for more behind-the-scenes actions, memes, and bad sports takes. You can find us at Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on Instagram, and Dad Bods, Crabcakes, and Sports on our Facebook page. Until next time, keep rocking those dad bods, eating those crab cakes, and never miss the game.